Morning and welcome to our thought for the day. We're looking again at priorities. Priorities in the right place. I want to read you a verse from John chapter 9, verse 25. It says this: He answered and said, Whether he be a sinner or no, I know not. One thing I know, that where I was blind, now I see. We've been looking over the last few days about making our priorities right and keeping our priorities in the right place. We looked at one thing that was needful for Martha. Instead of all the hustle and bustle of life, making sure that we're at the feet of Jesus, listening to every word that he has to say. And then there was the rich young ruler who seemed to have everything. And yet Jesus said, one thing thou lackest. You see, he had put his earthly riches before that which could have been his heavenly riches. Friends, can I tell you that eternity matters more than time? Make sure you're right for eternity. And so today, the excitement was great. The excitement was found once again. For whatever Christ is, there's great excitement. The news began to spread to those who were present, and they wanted to know how this had happened, how this blind man had received his sight. And so this blind man tries to explain to them. But finally he says in verse 25, he says, Whether he be a sinner or not, I know not. But he said, one thing I do know, that whereas I was blind, now I see. You see, those who were present were trying to find out all the mechanics of how it happened. They wanted to know exactly every detail of how it all happened. But the man had received the miracle, and he couldn't understand it, and he couldn't explain it, but all he could say was, I know that it's real, because now I've received my sight. They wanted the miraculous explained, but the miraculous is unexplainable. And the God of the miraculous is too big for man to understand. You see, what we receive from this wonderful God is by faith. We must believe and trust in him. You see, when God touches us through his word and convicts us of our sin and all our wrongdoing, we don't have to be told by others if we are forgiven. We don't have to be told by others how we can be forgiven, for we are able to experience it for ourselves. When our spiritual blindness is taken away, we can't understand it all, but we know it happened. And we're able to say, this one thing I know, that now I know Jesus Christ is my Savior, and my sins are all forgiven. Oh, the joy of full salvation. Paul said, I know in whom I have believed. Job, in the midst of all his trials, said, I know that my Redeemer liveth. Oh, what assurance is found in those words, I know. Do you know this morning that all is well with you in Christ? Again, I say that the people were trying to work it all out, but their priorities were wrong. Don't try to work it out, but receive what God has for you. Oh, if only they had trusted in the same Christ, they would have known the power of this Christ. You see, this man cared not for their questions, but he was pleased that he was able to enjoy the fullness of life for the first time. He was able to enjoy life through eyes that he had never seen through before. And these men, all they wanted to do was find out exactly how it had happened and all the rest of it. And then he said, I care not what you say. If you throw me out of the synagogue, it makes no difference, because I know what have happened to me. And we read in verse 34, it shows that they did cast him out. But Jesus went and found him. You see, when men will cast you out, Jesus says, him that cometh unto me, I will in no wise cast out. When people fail you and turn their back on you, remember that Christ is there waiting for you. One thing I know. Can you say that today? Can you say that you know this great Jesus and you trust him as your own personal Savior and friends? Have your spiritual eyes been opened? Friends, if not, I trust and I pray that God will do this miracle for you, and you will know Christ as your own personal Savior and friend. God bless you all. I look forward to speaking with you again tomorrow morning.